Thursday, July 23rd. It is day number 130 of At Home Fitness with Coach A. And today we are borrowing a workout from somebody else. This is a workout that I did at CrossFit Cliffside on Tuesday, and it was so much fun. I wanted to bring it to you guys. So here it is. Bear with me. I am going to put it on a whiteboard when I demonstrate it in the garage gym. But it is a little complicated, so I'm going to try and explain this smoothly and clearly. First thing is, it's a 22-minute AMRAP. All right, it's all very light, so don't worry about that. 22 minutes, it's going to be a lot of aerobic work. This is one of those workouts that is specifically for me, made me feel pretty empty, so make sure you guys have some fuel before doing this, but it's also a really good one in terms of making you move for a long time and doing it in a way that keeps you moving for a long time. So 22-minute AMRAP. You're going to start with 2 rounds. There's going to be 2 different 2-round pieces here that you're going to cycle through multiple times. So 2 rounds, 20 push press, 45, 35. So an empty bar. Okay. So 2 rounds, 20 push press, and 40 double unders. All right. So you do 20 push press, 40 dubs, 20 push press, 40 dubs. Then before you transition to the other 2-rounder, you're going to do 40 Abmat Sit-ups. There you go. Now, once you finish the Abmat Sit-up for the transition, you then do 2 rounds of 20 lunge steps with the barbell. So you can back rack it, you can front rack it, however you want to hold it. 20 lunge steps, so 10 each leg, and 40 double unders. Okay, so 2 rounds, 20 push press, 40 dubs. Then you do your 40 Abmat Sit-up transition. 2 rounds, 20 lunge steps, 40 dubs. So pretty much the same thing. We're just changing the barbell movement. Then you do another 40 Abmat transition before you go back to the beginning, which is the 2 rounds of 20 push press and 40 dubs again. All right. So you're just going to keep cycling through that concept for 22 minutes. I believe I was 5 Abmat sit-ups short of completing 3 rounds, but there was somebody in the class that maybe almost got through their 4th round of the 2 rounds of push press. All right, so I would say definitely shooting for +2 rounds. And if you can get the 3 complete, awesome. That's a pretty damn good score. All right, so stick around. I'll go through everything and I'll talk about possible modifications. All right, guys, so as I said, I wrote this out for you so it's a little easier to see. You can even screenshot it if you want. So we're looking at 22 minutes, 2 times through 20 push press with just a bar, 40 double unders, then a 40-minute Abmat sit-up changeover before 2 rounds of 20 lunge steps and 40 dubs. Finally, the 40 Abmat changeover before heading back to the beginning. So as you can see, we're going to go through it in this order, back into the beginning, continue going through it for 22 minutes. All right, so quick reminders here. We have a empty barbell. Obviously, this is not a barbell, it's a pipe. Push press, bars resting on the shoulders, bending the knees, dipping. You're noticing the butt is going straight to the heels. I'm staying in a good posture position underneath the bar. Legs, hips extend into the shoulders, and I press through to finish on the bar. Okay, so we're cycling these through. A couple of things I would want to see are, 1, we are making contact with something between the upper chest and the shoulders when the bar comes down. 2, we are using the hips to send the bar up into the air. And 3, this is not a push jerk, so we're not re-dipping under the bar, okay? Even though this is an aggressive movement, especially when it's light, it requires a little bit of patience so that we're not dragging the hips up as the bar is still traveling, we're coming back down, and then the bar is immediately returning down. All right, the patience being the hips need to stay at extension until that weight gets overhead, and then they receive and reload almost like a spring on the way back down. Double unders, talked about 2 rotations per hop on the jump rope. Abmat sit-ups I'll demonstrate in a second. I want you to set your legs and feet, hips up a different way. But the lunge step as I said, it can be here. It can be here, which is probably the smartest place for it to be, since it's going to require the least amount of work. We are stepping forward and pushing back. 1, 2. Don't want you to get in that rhythm of I'm not really finishing the lunge step. I'm kind of staying in the lunge step and shuffling my way through. Down, up. All right. So for the Abmat sit-ups, Abmat referring to the Abmat that we toss under the lower back while we're on the ground. If you don't want it, that's fine. What I'm looking for today, full range of motion, just as normal. We go all the way back. Shoulders, hands touch the ground behind us. We come all the way up, meaning the shoulders are in front of the hips at the top of the movement. It's not this, okay? The change up that I'm gonna throw at you guys today is I don't care where the feet are, if they're out here, if they're in here, if they're out here, but instead of getting into this Buddha type position, I want you guys to have the knees bent and have them facing up. Yes, the hip flexors are gonna work a little harder, but hopefully over the course of this workout, it'll keep some of the strain off the lower back. Stick around and I will walk through some super simple, easy modifications for the push press, double under, and lunges.
Stay tuned for movement modifications.
Modifications. Push press is going to be pretty easy, whether we have 1 dumbbell, 2 dumbbells, 1 kettlebell, 2 kettlebells. We're driving up from here. All right, if I'm looking at 1, I'm going to hit 10 each side, change them up that way. 10 each side probably allows me to go a little heavier with this. When it comes to the lunge, if I'm in that same scenario, if I have 2, obviously I'm going to hold them down here, okay? That is going to be easier than trying to stack them on the shoulders or hold them overhead or anything along those lines. If I'm only working with 1, goblet position is probably going to be the easiest position for me to keep moving. Remember, we're not necessarily trying to prioritize difficulty on this workout for those movements, but we're trying to prioritize speed and reps, okay? Once you get a lot of reps in, once you get a lot of work in. So jump rope, right? Can't do 40 double unders. If we can do double unders, we need to cut that number down. I'd rather see you cut that number down first. Secondly, if we can go to single unders, because we have a jump rope, we don't have dubs, let's kick that number to 80. I'm okay with that number staying a little bit lower if you don't have a high comprehension of jumping rope. Meaning if you're not very good at it, I don't want you to waste more and more time having to stop, having to be stagnant. So it can even be a number that's like 40, right? We can even go with a 1-to-1 ratio. If you don't have the rope, we talked about this before, you guys can set a line, do lateral hops, you can find an object, stay on the toes and do taps. We can even do like a super short, if this were to be a plate, something about that height, I could even do short box jumps onto the plate. All right, so just keep in mind the movement should be quick, should be a lot of calf work, should be a lot of ankle extension work, should be very high cardio driven. I want you to go to a box jump and really slow that pace down and make it something completely different.